Hello everyone, we're taking notes of finding roots and vertex with technology. That will be our first set of notes, and then we'll do the second part in a few minutes. Now, I want to identify roots and vertex. Roots are actually another name, another different name, like a nickname for x-intercepts. And this is where the graph crosses or touches the x-axis. So roots actually mean the x-intercepts, and it's where your graph actually crosses the x-axis. Now vertex is either the highest or the lowest point of your parabola. It is your center point. It's right in the middle. So I'm going to use technology. We're using Desmos, and I am finding the roots and I'm finding the vertex of my given equation. So I'm going to go ahead and type it in. So we have negative x squared minus 10x plus 24. So I notice that I'm going to have to zoom in or zoom out. So I'm going to just pinch my fingers. Now I notice for this graph, it crosses the x-axis in two locations. I'm going to tap on the first location. It is at negative 12, and it is at 2. So I'm going to go back, and I'm going to write negative 12 and at 2. Now my vertex, this one has a high point, so that means the highest will be a maximum point. So my vertex, if I tap on it, it's at negative 549. So I'm going to come back and write my vertex is 549. And this is actually, you don't have to do this part, but it actually is a maximum. Now I'm going to go to the next equation. My next equation is x squared minus 8x minus 48. So I am going to zoom. So my x-intercept, which is my root, my first one I see is negative 4. So I'm going to come back and write negative 4. And then I'm going to tap on it. And it is 12 for the next one. So my roots are negative 4 and 12. Now to find the vertex. My center point is actually a low point, which means it's going to be a minimum. So my vertex, if I tap on it, will be 4, negative 64. Okay, so that's the first portion of our notes. Next, we're going to do parabola features. So I went ahead and identified x-intercept. We already know that it's where the graph crosses and touches the x-axis, which means roots also. The y-intercept. This is where your graph is actually going to cross or touch the y-axis. And then the vertex. It's either the highest or the lowest point of your parabola and acts as a symmetry. You actually don't see a vertical line, but it's an imaginary vertical line that cuts your parabola right in the center, right in half. So let's go ahead and start with a few examples. Now, the first problem is asking for the axis of symmetry. This is where you're going to come and cut your graph right into the center. So here's the center of it. So I'm going to cut right through it. I'm cutting right through it with the vertical line. So my axis of symmetry, it is when x equals negative 2. Now you need to write x equals as well, not just negative 2, because it is an equation. Now, my next problem, this time you have to identify the vertex. It is your center, your middle point. This one is a maximum because it has a high point. My high point is 4, 9. So my vertex is 4, 9. My next problem is y-intercept. Well, I'm going to see my y-axis. Where does it crosses the y-intercept? And I noticed it is at 8. So my y-intercept 0, 8. Here's another example. We're going to use this graph to find roots. Again, this is where the graph crosses the x-axis. So on the x-axis, I notice that it crosses it at 1. And I notice it crosses it on 5. So my roots are 1 and 5. We have one more for these notes. This time the x-intercept. Well, on the x-axis, it crosses at -7 and at 5. So my x-intercept is -7 and -5. I hope these notes help you. You have a good day.